I'm about to play this piece, again, both eyes open. It's an opera. It focuses on the Japanese internment during World War II and a story there. And sometimes people ask me how and where all the sounds that maybe I'm playing are coming from, because there's no one front of house playing any sound design. I'm playing all of the sounds that are not piano, clarinet, or violin on this instrument. And of course, some of them are percussion, but a lot of them are not. And if I start at the top of the show, for instance, right away, I play the sound of a piano being strummed there. And then I play another sound, which is the sound of kind of a group of strings, but I'm harmonically manipulating them with the timbre. And then I'm actually even playing clarinet sounds. But I'm controlling the volume here, and it's a sampled clarinet. And I have two different ones and I'm playing this one here too. I could play one there if I wanted. And I have control over that. And then additionally, while I'm doing that, I'm playing a sound of a Wurlitzer, a very low register. Basically, it's like a bass, but sometimes it has a bass drum layered in there. So I'm playing all of that in the first 30 seconds as this. And then I immediately jump to playing other sounds in my right hand that are independent from the sounds in my left. Because of course each mallet can actually have its own sound attached to it, as you might see these. If you know the Lumina, you know that it tracks the colors of the mallets. And then of course I'm playing some other sounds like trains, which I clearly just played, or block, which is just a percussion sound, right? And then big whistles. I hit a pedal over here that moves me to another sound, which is, say, where I'm just become a sound designer. And now I'm manipulating the sound of I'm mixing in the sound of a crowd here. I can turn it on, or I can, and I'm also playing for a section that is sort of like, almost like the clown section where there's an awkward conversation. This is all while this crowd plays. And I bring down the sound of the conversation, or the crowd, and I start playing these sounds from the 40s, samples. Hopefully adding to the awkwardness and the humor of the situation. And so I play those with each these mallets being assigned to the sounds of these sounds being assigned to the piano loops. So those are true samples in the way people think of samples. But then I immediately jump to some more spectral sounding software synthesis, where I got the sound of something very ethereal. So I jump to that sound that accompanies the soloist soprano. And to accompany the baritone, I start playing with a train, because there's mostly piano during that, but I'm playing the sound of a passing train during that entire piece. Then when the Daruma starts singing, I start playing with a harpsichord. And, so I just play melodically like you would a harpsichord, and then immediately jump back to another moment where I'm doing, again, more sound design. I'm playing the sound of a field during the less awkward conversation where the farmer takes his bride-to-be to the farm field. And this is sort of the sound of corn. And I don't use it rhythmically, although it's kind of fun. But I'm just mixing it in. And then I go back to being simply, but I'm sort of, now I'm layering sounds of clarinets and vibraphone. Then I'm moving on to playing the sound of, well, again, the spectral stuff. Let's see if I can get to here, Act 2. There we go. So then I get to some drums. Oops. Here we go. Oh, that's still that. Okay, here we go, some drums. So just simply drums, except that I've added voice. Well, the score adds voice, and I added the fact that I can play with the vowels. This is our friend who was one of the originators, original Durimadal of this piece, John Dykers, and I sampled him and each note doing 5 different vowels. So I can crossfade him going through the vowels, and I can mix that into my playing by actually playing that. During that section, I drive my fist section, and the most dramatic part is when it goes. So I have that I can play with. So I have a lot of different resources that I've mapped out to mallets and location of the mallets. Even to the point, let's use. So then we get to a section again about trains. There's a lot of trains in this piece. If you know anything about the way people were transported to the internment camps, trains are involved in the story, not just about that, but there are tracks nearby, and I won't go into the whole story, but nonetheless, there's a train involved, and the train, that loop is in a 4/4 loop, and the piece is in 3/4, and so and I'm playing against it, so it's a. So there's actually this 3/4 happening, so I go. And then there's a part on the right that goes. So I get 3 things going there, which is kind of interesting and fun. And so that's the way I play with that. And after that, I can play the sound of the Daruma section. Let's see. Well, the whole point is I have a lot of different resources at my disposal. And, oh yeah, here we go, family play. In fact, I play here in this section. I've got the sound of children. This other spectral sound happening here. Also drums on this mallet. got something different on this mallet. And I believe I have the sound of a train going back and forth here. And then I get to a point where I start playing with vowel samples. That's happening during this very dreamy section. And then it gets to a point where it builds up and I start playing taiko sounds. And then it becomes a little more humorous. We move into sort of an absurd section that is about that uses a contemporary sort of that's a sort of a Punch and Judy section. But anyway. And that's simply a mapping of a percussion sound, which is a standard thing to do with these kind of controllers. But what's fun is if I wanted to improvise it, I slide around and could have all sorts of sounds playing. But of course, everything here is scored, so I can't do that, only in my free time. However, that's how I create a lot of these sounds and play them for this piece. I hope that is somewhat insightful, and I hope you come and enjoy this piece at some point. It's called Both Eyes Open. It's by Max Dykers, libretto by Philip Gatanda, and it was developed for a long period of time. So I was able to slowly gather up various resources, sound resources, and apply them to this piece. So that's the way I like to play this kind of work, and I love to work with theater because I get to interact directly with the performers on the instrument, and as well as with the conductor. So enjoy.